The lights of the Graham Norton Show shone brighter than ever, not to illuminate talent, but to expose an unraveling royal fantasy. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry entered the stage with the poise of carefully trained celebrities, their smiles rehearsed, their movements calculated. For years, they had cultivated the image of relatable, modern royals, navigating the fine line between Hollywood glamour and royal heritage. Yet in that moment, every calculated gesture, every polished expression, seemed inadequate against the piercing wit and cultural savvy of Graham Norton. What was supposed to be a celebration of star power quickly transformed into a spectacle of exposure, leaving the couple visibly shocked and, by the end of the evening, thoroughly humiliated. From the opening moments, tension hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. Meghan's customary confident smile faltered as Norton's opening lines cut closer than she expected. He referenced the couple's dual identity, their desire for celebrity autonomy, while still clinging to royal reverence. The subtle juxtaposition, delivered with Norton's signature blend of charm and sharpness, drew an audible reaction from a live audience. The Sussexes had stepped into a trap not their own making, yet one they could not escape, for it was built by the very contradictions they had long ignored. The interview escalated quickly when Norton questioned Harry about the continuing insistence on royal titles. "You've stepped back from duty," he said, a sly grin tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Yet you expect to be addressed with the same respect as active royals. How does that work?" The audience laughed, not cruelly, but with the recognition of irony too stark to ignore. Harry, usually quick to charm and deflect, stiffened visibly. Meghan's practiced smile tightened, betraying the inner tension. For the first time in a public appearance of this nature, the carefully cultivated image of calm authority and measured composure cracked under the bright lights. What followed was a series of exchanges that would be dissected for months in tabloids and on social media. Meghan, attempting to redirect the conversation, spoke of authenticity and the couple's dedication to philanthropic ventures. Norton, however, was relentless, subtly questioned the authenticity of high-profile deals with streaming giants, luxury brands, and paid media appearances. Each question, light in tone but sharp in delivery, chipped away at the veneer-controlled image. The audience, sensing a real-time unraveling, leaned forward, captivated by a spectacle that had more in common with trial than a talk show interview. The deeper exposure came not from the questions themselves, but from the reactions they elicited. Harry's attempts at humor felt forced, his laughter hollow. Meghan's responses were measured but defensive, betraying the stress beneath the composed exterior. Norton's ability to maintain levity while exposing contradiction made it impossible for the couple to regain control. The irony was evident. They had presented themselves as modern, self-aware figures free from the rigidities of monarchy, yet they were immediately undone by a television host wielding nothing more than truth, observation, and wit. By the midpoint of the show, the audience was witnessing not just an interview, but a spectacle of contradiction. The Sussexes' claims of wanting ordinary lives clashed violently with their insistence on recognition, privilege, and reverence. Every gesture, every nuanced smile, every carefully chosen word was now interpreted as defensive or hypocritical. Social media exploded simultaneously, with clips circulating globally, hashtags trending, and pundits dissecting every second. The Norton interview became an instant template for the public narrative. Meghan and Harry, ambitious and glamorous, yet unable to escape the very institution they claimed to critique. Critics were quick to contextualize the incident within a broader pattern of behavior. Analysts highlighted the dangers of claiming independence while demanding entitlement, the pitfalls of celebrity ambition intertwined with inherited privilege. The Norton exposure was not merely entertainment. It was a mirror held up to a couple whose public messaging had long-masked internal contradictions. Observers noted that, in real time, millions of viewers could see the disconnect between claims of authenticity and actions that sought admiration without accountability. The live broadcast also reignited discussions about Harry's obsessive attachment to royal identity. His repeated attempts to assert status, to be recognized as His Royal Highness, collided with the reality of a world no longer bound to deference. Norton's subtle humor turned this insistence into a public spectacle, leaving Harry flushed, defensive, and ultimately exposed. Meghan, meanwhile, seemed trapped in the dual role of partner and image manager, navigating both her husband's reactions and the audience's critical gaze. The carefully curated narrative of autonomy, dignity, and celebrity influence had fractured under scrutiny. The day after the broadcast, the story dominated headlines globally. Clips of Harry's stiff responses and Meghan's uneasy smiles were shared millions of times across social media platforms. Pundits dissected every glance, every hesitation, portraying the couple as figures struggling to reconcile their Hollywood ambitions with the residual trappings of royal expectation. What had been carefully marketed as a charming, relatable image of modern royals now appeared brittle and contradictory. The Norton interview did not just entertain. It crystallized a narrative that critics had long whispered about, showing a couple unable to fully escape the privileges they simultaneously rejected. In Hollywood, the repercussions were immediate. Industry insiders expressed concern over the Sussexes' seeming inability to handle public scrutiny. Executives reportedly questioned whether the couple's blend of royal heritage and celebrity appeal was sustainable. They project independence and relatability, yet they crave reverence and admiration, one insider said. When you mix entitlement with celebrity, the audience sees it instantly. Norton just made it undeniable. Netflix, Spotify, and other streaming platforms that had previously celebrated Meghan and Harry's ventures were reportedly reevaluating their partnerships. The very clips meant to enhance the couple's image instead fueled a growing perception that they were tone-deaf to public sentiment. Public reaction on social media amplified the humiliation. Hashtags referencing hypocrisy, entitlement, and the couple's contradictory behavior began trending internationally. Memes of Harry clutching at his royal title, while Meghan forced a tight smile, spread rapidly, capturing the tension of the broadcast in humorous yet unflattering ways. Analysts noted that the Norton episode had effectively reframed public discourse. From Meghan and Harry as victims of media intrusion, the figures whose own contradictions were under scrutiny. Even sympathetic commentators admitted that the interview made visible the gap between the couple's projected identity and the reality of public expectation. In the United Kingdom, the backlash was equally sharp. Royal commentators and former palace aides highlighted the irony of the Sussexes' situation, stepping back from royal duties while still expecting public deference. You cannot reject the institution and expect it to validate you, a palace insider remarked. That tension is precisely what Norton exposed. The couple's public narrative is riddled with contradictions, and the audience saw it in real time. Analysts noted that Harry's insistence on titles and ceremonial recognition directly clashed with the couple's stated desire for a freer, independent lifestyle, leaving them vulnerable to criticism. The broadcast also revealed subtle fissures in the couple's public composure. Harry's attempt at humor came across as forced, while Meghan's measured responses occasionally betrayed tension. Norton's sharp, lightly humorous questioning highlighted the couple's contradictions without overt hostility, making the exposure feel organic rather than orchestrated. Observers noted that in a single, well-timed interview, the couple's carefully curated image, crafted through interviews, public appearances, and controlled media content, was punctured, revealing both vulnerability and hubris. Media outlets began framing the incident as more than an isolated embarrassment. Analysts linked it to a broader pattern of behavior. The Sussexes' desire for autonomy, recognition, and influence juxtaposed with public expectations for humility, accountability, and relatability. The Norton interview became a case study in celebrity overreach, showing how the desire for control over one's narrative could be undermined by public perception and real-time scrutiny. Social media amplified every subtle reaction, ensuring that the exposure extended far beyond the immediate broadcast. Even within the entertainment industry, the fallout was tangible. Hosts, producers, and media strategists cited the Norton appearance as a cautionary tale in blending celebrity and inherited privilege. Harry and Meghan's perceived inability to handle playful, pointed questioning without defensiveness was noted as a key misstep. Observers concluded that the couple had underestimated the cultural nuance of appearing on British television without the safety net of royal protocol, making them vulnerable to scrutiny and public mockery.